Let me ask you something. Have you ever lost something? A job, a person, an opportunity, and felt like the universe had simply turned its back on you? Have you ever worked hard for something, believed in it completely, and then watched it fall apart for no reason you could understand? Have you ever looked at your life and thought, why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? Will things ever get better? If you have, then this story is for you. Because today, I want to share with you the story of a young man named Aryan. A young man who lost everything in a single week. And an old farmer who taught him the most important truth he would ever learn. A truth so simple, yet so powerful, that it has the ability to completely change the way you see every difficult moment in your life. Stay with me, because the lesson at the end of this story is one you will carry for the rest of your life. In a small village nestled between green mountains and a quiet silver river, there lived a young man named Aryan. Aryan was not lazy. He was not careless. He was not someone who expected things to be easy. From the age of 14, he had worked alongside his father in their small flour mill at the edge of the village. He had carried heavy sacks, repaired broken machinery with his bare hands, and saved every single coin he ever earned. For 8 years, 8 long years, Aryan had one dream. He wanted to open a small shop. Nothing grand, just a modest general store where the villagers could buy their daily goods without walking 3 hours to the next town. He had a plan, he had the money, he had found the perfect location, a small empty building near the village well. And he had the heart of someone who truly believed if you work hard enough, good things will come. He was 22 years old, and everything was ready. And then, in one single week, everything fell apart. It began on a Monday. A merchant from the city arrived and announced he was opening a large supply store right next to the building Aryan had chosen. A proper store with more variety, lower prices, and better stock. By Tuesday, the landlord of Aryan's chosen building returned his deposit and apologized. The space had been given to the merchant. On Wednesday, the heavy monsoon rains, the worst in 15 years, flooded the lower part of the village. Aryan's family flour mill, the one his father had built, the one Aryan had worked in since childhood, was destroyed. The machinery, the stock, the building, all of it gone. And on Friday, the final blow. Aryan's father, exhausted and heartbroken from surveying the damage, fell ill. The doctor said he needed rest, complete rest, for at least 3 months. In 5 days, Aryan lost his dream, his business, his family's income, and watched his father lying pale and quiet on a rope cot. Aryan sat outside his house that night and looked up at the sky and said one thing. What was the point of any of it? I worked for 8 years. I did everything right. And this is what I get? His heart was not angry. It was something worse than anger. It was empty. The next morning, unable to sleep, Aryan walked along the river path at the edge of the village. He did not know where he was going. He simply walked, the way people walk when they have nowhere to go and cannot bear to stay still. That is when he saw him. An old farmer, everyone called him Baba Hari, was working in a small field beside the river. He was old, 70, perhaps older. His back was bent from decades of work. His hands were the hands of someone who had touched this earth every single day of their life. And he was humming, quietly, contentedly, humming to himself while planting seeds in wet ground. The morning after the worst flood in 15 years, and this old man was humming. Aryan stopped. "Baba," he said, "how are you so calm? The flood destroyed half the village. Your crops." The old man looked up. His eyes were extraordinary, old and deep, and completely undisturbed. "My crops are gone," Baba Hari said simply. "So I plant new ones." "But," Aryan began. "Sit," the old man said. "You look like a man who has been arguing with the river about which direction it should flow." Aryan sat. Baba Hari was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Let me tell you about my son. Many years ago, I had a magnificent horse, the finest horse in this region. My neighbors said I was the luckiest man alive. I said, 'Let us see.' One morning, the horse ran away, into the mountains, gone. My neighbors came to my house and said, 'Baba Hari, what terrible luck! What a tragedy!' I said, 'Let us see.' 3 days later, the horse returned, and with him he brought 2 wild horses from the mountain. Suddenly, I had 3 horses. My neighbors said, 'Baba Hari, what incredible luck!' I said, 'Let us see.' That week, my son, my strong, young, proud son, tried to ride one of the wild horses. The horse threw him. My son broke his leg. My neighbors came again. 'Baba Hari, what terrible luck! A broken leg!' I said, 'Let us see.' The following week, the king's soldiers came to the village. They were drafting all young men for a long and brutal war. Every young man in the village was taken, except my son. Because of his broken leg, he was the only one who came home again. Baba Hari set down the seed he was holding and looked at Aryan. "Tell me," he said quietly, "which part of that story was the tragedy and which part was the blessing?" Aryan said nothing. The old man smiled. "Exactly," he said. "You cannot know, not while you are standing inside the story. Only time shows you what each moment was for." They sat in silence for a while. The river moved beside them. The village behind them slowly woke up. Then Aryan said, "But Baba, how do you live with not knowing? How do you work and plant and try when everything can be taken away at any moment?" The old farmer picked up a handful of soil, let it fall slowly through his fingers. "Because," he said, "the farmer does not plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He plants it. He waters it. He trusts the process. And he waits. You planted 8 years of hard work. You watered it with sacrifice. You trusted it. Just because you cannot see what is growing yet does not mean nothing is growing. The flood," he continued, "took your mill, but it also cleared the ground. Sometimes the universe removes what was keeping you small so that what is truly meant for you can finally find you." Aryan looked at the wet ground where the old man had just pressed seeds, a field that had been underwater 3 days ago, and the old man was already planting new life in it. Aryan returned home that morning, and something had shifted. Not everything was fixed. His father was still ill, the mill was still destroyed, the merchant store was still coming. But Aryan stopped fighting the river. Instead of rebuilding the mill exactly as it was, he asked himself what the flood had made possible that had not been possible before. Without the mill to maintain, he had time he had never had. He spent those months caring for his father, talking with him, really talking, for the first time in years. He discovered that his father, in his younger days, had known how to make a particular type of hand-ground spice blend that no one in the region sold anymore. Together, father and son began making and selling it from their home. Slowly, quietly, one small jar at a time. Within 2 years, that spice blend was being sold in 4 surrounding villages. The merchant store? It closed after 18 months. Too expensive to maintain for the village size. And the building that had been taken from Aryan became available again. This time, Aryan did not open a general store. He opened a small spice and grain shop. his father's recipes on the shelves, his own 8 years of savings behind it, and something the merchant could never have: the trust of every family who had watched Aryan grow up among them. Aryan visited Baba Hari every week for the rest of the old man's life. And on the last day he saw him, sitting again by the same river where everything had started, he asked, "Baba, do you ever regret anything? Any moment that hurt you? Any loss that still stings?" The old man smiled. "Every hard moment," he said, "was a seed. I just did not always know what it was growing into." He looked at the river. The water does not ask why it must go around the rock. It simply finds the way forward. And in doing so, it becomes the river. I want to speak to you directly now. You may be in the middle of your own flood. Maybe you lost something you worked years for. Maybe a door was closed that you believed was meant for you. Maybe someone walked away. Maybe a plan failed. Maybe the ground beneath you feels completely uncertain right now. I want to tell you something that Baba Hari taught Aryan, and that I believe with everything I have. You cannot judge a chapter while you are still inside it. What feels like a loss today is often the universe redirecting you. Current vision is too small to even imagine yet. The broken leg that saved a life. The flood that cleared the ground. The closed door that forced you down a hallway you never would have walked on your own. Not everything that feels like an ending is an ending. Sometimes it is the exact moment your real story begins. If this story touched something in you, share it with someone who is going through a difficult time right now. They may need this reminder more than you know. And remember, whatever you are facing today, do not judge it yet. The seed is still in the ground. Trust the process.
Why every hard thing that happens to you is actually working for you. A powerful motivational story. Short story name: The Stone That Opened the Path. The Stone That Opened the Path. Long ago, in a peaceful mountain village, lived a young man named Ethan. He believed life had been unfair to him since childhood. His father passed away when he was young. His family's small Why every hard thing that happens to you. But instead of giving Why every hard thing that happens to you is actually working for you. A powerful motivational story. Short story name: The Stone That Opened the Path. The Stone That Opened the Path. Long ago, in a peaceful mountain village, lived a young man named Ethan. He believed life had been unfair to him since childhood. His father passed away when he was young. His family's small farm failed because of years of drought, and every dream he tried to chase seemed to fall apart before it could even begin. Whenever something bad happened, Ethan would look at the sky and whisper, "Why me?" The villagers often comforted him, but nothing changed his heart. One day, after another failed attempt to start a small business, Ethan packed a bag and decided to leave the village forever. "I've had enough," he said. "Maybe somewhere else, life will finally be kind." As he walked through the mountains, heavy rain began to fall. The narrow road became slippery, and suddenly a massive stone rolled down from the hill, blocking the only path forward. Frustrated, Ethan shouted, "Even nature is against me!" An old traveler sitting beneath a tree quietly smiled. "You see a barrier," the old man said. "I see another disaster," Ethan replied. The traveler stood up slowly. "Come with me." They climbed a small hill beside the blocked road. It was difficult. Ethan slipped many times and complained during every step. After nearly an hour, they reached the top. What Ethan saw left him speechless. Below them, the road they had planned to take completely collapsed into a deep valley. A landslide had destroyed everything beyond the giant stone. "If that stone hadn't blocked the road," the traveler said gently, "you would have continued walking, and you would not be alive today." For the first time in years, Ethan stood silent. The obstacle he had cursed had actually saved him. The traveler smiled. Life often protects us in ways we don't understand. Those words echoed in Ethan's heart. Instead of continuing his journey, Ethan returned to the village. This time, something inside him had changed. Whenever problems appeared, he asked a different question. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" he asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" Months later, another drought struck the village. Most farmers panicked. But Ethan remembered the previous drought that had destroyed his family's crops. Back then, he had learned about collecting rainwater and storing underground reserves from an old book he had found while searching for hope. Everyone had laughed at him when he built strange underground tanks. "This is a waste of time," they had said. Now those tanks were full. While every farm around him dried up, Ethan's crops stayed alive. People who once mocked him now came asking for help. He gladly shared both his water and his knowledge. Years passed. Another hardship arrived. A fire destroyed his small workshop. For one night, Ethan felt defeated again. But instead of giving up, he rebuilt it using stronger materials that were fire-resistant. The new workshop attracted skilled craftsmen from neighboring villages. His little workshop became the largest business in the region. One evening, a young boy visited Ethan. "Everyone says you're lucky." Ethan laughed. "Lucky?" The boy nodded. "You survived everything." Ethan picked up 2 seeds. He placed one on a table. The other he buried deep into the soil. "Which one has the easier life?" Ethan asked. "The one on the table." Ethan smiled. "Exactly." Days later, the seed on the table looked exactly the same. The buried seed had disappeared beneath darkness. It had been covered by dirt, pressed from every side. It looked as if life had buried it forever. But weeks later, a green sprout broke through the soil. Months later, it became a strong tree. The seed that suffered became the one that grew. The boy looked at the tree with wonder. "So pain isn't always punishment?" "No," Ethan replied. "Many times, pain is preparation." Years later, Ethan became the village's most respected leader. People traveled from distant lands seeking his advice. One traveler asked him the secret behind his success. Ethan pointed toward the mountain where the giant stone had once blocked his path. "I used to believe every obstacle was sent to stop me," he smiled. "Now I know many obstacles were sent to redirect me." He continued, "Every disappointment taught patience. Every failure taught wisdom. Every rejection protected me from something smaller. Every delay prepared me for something greater. The hardest chapters of my life became the strongest foundation of my future." The traveler asked, If you could erase every painful moment from your life, would you? Ethan looked toward the sky for a long moment. Then he quietly answered, "If I erased my pain, I would also erase my strength." The traveler smiled. At sunset, the mountains glowed with golden light. Ethan realized something beautiful. Life had never been working against him. Even in its hardest moments, life had been quietly working for him all along. And perhaps the greatest blessings are often hidden inside the hardest seasons, waiting for us to trust, endure, and keep moving forward until we finally understand why they had to happen. Moral of the story: sometimes the hardest moments in life are not meant to break you. They are meant to prepare, protect, and redirect you toward a better future. Trust the process, learn from every challenge, and remember, what feels like a setback today may become the greatest blessing of your tomorrow.
Listen to me, please.